Welcome to Doc's Lab and our third Master Series. Welcome to Doc's Lab and our third Master Series. I do believe this is the first video or second video in our third Master Series on production engineering. And in this first video, basically what I want to talk about is probably one of the most important things that you are going to incorporate into becoming that next level master audio engineer and a really good production engineer. And that is immersive listening. Because we have talked about critical listening and honing your critical listening abilities in our second Master Series, and about how important it is to take every single moment in time into consideration, and how important that really important things happen in really small amounts of time. And this immersive listening thing is about things imprinting on you. You know, the more you immerse yourself in really good power productions and things you like, the more it will imprint on your mind and saturate your mind to where you will be much more critical about things that you produce and things that you engineer. You will have to trust me on that. It will be monumental in you becoming a good production engineer and becoming that next level master audio engineer. And this basically is becoming a music connoisseur. Now, before we get into this and you say music connoisseur, oh no. This can be the same thing whether you're listening to whole punk country music or grunge rock or reggae or classical music or whatever you might be doing. The more you immerse yourself in it, the more all the little nuances that make it what it is and the power productions they are, you become more in tune to. It imprints on you and it saturates you so that you are much more critical of it when working with those things. It is true and it is monumental in you becoming a really good production engineer and a good production engineer. And basically, the concept, I'll try to keep this video not too long, but it is monumental, and it's the first video of how important it is because of feelings and emotions. That, you know, we will get into some music theory, basic music theory when we talk about composition, but a lot of things are feelings and emotions. You know, you work off basic, foundations, and then you let the music, you search around for chords and changes with your feelings and emotions. And you feel that, so that when you immerse yourself in these really good productions, the more you listen to it over and over and over and over and over and over again, the more it saturates you to where you really start to, imprint on those feelings and emotions. And because it's music most of the time is about feelings and emotions more than theory. Theory can tell you what might be happening there, but the feelings and emotions aren't on paper. Does that make sense? And you going through there and taking, like, let's say I've got this production here that's Big Generator from Yes, and I'll listen to it over and over again. Just listen to all the nuances and all the little characteristics over and over. Then I'll start deconstructing. I'll start listening just the drums, and then just the bass, and then just the guitar, then just the piano, then just the vocals, then just the harmonies. And really over and over again, just picking it apart and listening to what the little rhythmical elements are doing. And even though you might not write it out on music, you can feel it. You can feel that, the guitar's going pa-pa-pam-pam, or the drum's going ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and then ta-ta, and then it's doing little dynamic things, different textures, different articulations, how it changes rhythm, how the bass works with the rhythm elements, how it also jumps out of that a little bit and works with the melodic elements of the musical instruments and the musical elements of the production also, and start really hearing that and pulling it apart, pulling all the different aspects of the mix out and listening to them critically and immersing yourself in it into really good productions so that it imprints on you. It will eventually imprint on you and slowly but surely make you a connoisseur of the great productions you immerse yourself in. And I know that sounds funny, but it is monumental in you becoming a good production engineer and helping you become that next level master audio engineer, because it will saturate you. And you would think then it can help you immensely, because it will imprint on you these feelings that that you will pull out of yourself, that you will be able to hear, that have imprinted on your mind to help you move around in your productions and hear when things ain't quite right, or something needs to be adjusted, or the dynamics ain't right, or their articulation's having a problem, or the performance is having a problem, or the engineering's having a problem, because you're a connoisseur of music and a connoisseur of good productions. And it sounds funny, but you put yourself a really good big playlist together of big good productions you like, and just listen to them over and over and over and over and over again in your studio with your headphones as part of your schooling and becoming a good engineer and production engineer, and then start deconstructing them just without paper and pen and the music and trying to figure out what they're doing musically, just listening to all the elements. What did the guitar do right before that break and during there, that when one instrument's talking, the other ones are laying back a little bit, and when the vocalist during the verse was doing this and he stopped and a little drum did a little accident, or the bass went to or the guitar, something's going on there, something's always going on. Nothing happens in a really good power production for no reason at all. And the more you immerse yourself in it, the more that will become apparent, and the more it'll saturate you to where when you start producing and you are engineering, that you will hear it. You will hear the difference between what you're doing and what that stuff you like in those big power productions is doing. And you will hear how you want to do it a little differently, to where you can pull things out. We steal stuff all the time. There's so many songs that have a verse and a chorus and a bridge and a lead section and an ending. We steal that all the time. So, it's not that you're stealing it, but you start hearing little accents can be right after the vocalist did that, or right before the break, or right before the bridge, or right after the lead. It starts to saturate you, and it starts to become part of your persona as a production engineer and an audio engineer, that you hear these things and you expect them, and you expect the quality that's happening there, and you hear the differences much more acutely, because you are a much more connoisseur of good music productions, because you have taken the time to make it a project to immerse yourself in really good productions. So once you've figured out your genre oriented or something, you've immersed yourself in that and you've picked them apart, branch out a little bit into classical music. Movie productions are great, because movie productions, you can immerse yourself in those, in the movie and in what's happening with the music, and really critical listening, because it might be using country music or reggae or rock or classical and all kinds of different things that are helping it project different feelings and emotions and changes that are happening, that you can do a little differently to incorporate into your good power productions. That it's like, during that movie, that sounded great, but it doesn't sound like country, bro. How can I change that to make it sound more country? Or I can use this country effect that I heard in this country song during this movie production that would sound really good in this EDM thing if I just change it a little bit, but it still has that same effect if I do it really well, because it's really good stuff from a really good production. And I know that sounds funny, but it is monumental. And it is the first video that I'm making in this series, and becoming a really good production engineer to help you become a next level master audio engineer as well, to help you in that area, is you becoming this connoisseur of music. And to break that down, we talked about that. Let's say you're really into grunge stuff. How am I going to be a connoisseur of grunge music? If you get really good grunge productions and really good popular grunge productions, backwater productions or the popular ones, whatever, and really good playlists together, and start immersing yourself even in that you will become a connoisseur of that. You will hear all the little differences, so that when you do stuff like that, you don't overproduce it or kill the vibe of what's happening there. It's like this reggae song, you want to do a little reggae thing here on your country song, your EDM thing, to just kind of spice it up or add a little bit of flavor. You ain't never going to do it right, because you're killing it. It doesn't have that flavor at all. Or you want to do this like thing that's coming into this en vogue thing during the middle of your country song, and it just goes da da da, and you just want to do something weird and off the wall, and you know how to do it because you've immersed you know what that's supposed to sound like. Which is kind of another aspect of it, because just the basic connoisseur of it is the most important element. Because then let's say like you're really into big pop productions or big EDM productions, and you just immersed yourselves in them over and over and over and over and over and over again, then pick them apart and pick them apart, all the little nuances and little rhythmical elements, how things are working together and how they're doing counterpoint against each other and how harmony is working together, and just over and over and over and over again, then just letting it saturate you and imprint on yourself, so that it will, to where when you start producing or in your engineering, that you will hear the difference. It will become second nature to you, that you go, that stuff doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like that power reduction. It doesn't sound as good. The composition doesn't sound as good. The breaks don't sound as good. The performance doesn't sound as good. The engineering doesn't sound as good. The way it's put together doesn't sound as good. The way they're doing articulation doesn't sound as good. That sounds funky and off. That doesn't sound right. There's something's weird about that, and it just doesn't sound right. And, you know, when you decide to do something different and spicy, it opens up your repertoire, because you're saturated and imprinted with all kinds of different ideas that all have imprinted on you, whether or not you've written them out and you've learned to play those songs or whatever. It's there. It's imprinted on you. It's saturated and imprinted on you because of you immersing yourself in it. So I hope that sinks in, because in this first video, going into production engineer and helping you become that next level master audio engineer, this is one of the most important things that will help you. You'll have to trust me on that. When we get into composition, we'll talk a little bit of music theory, but a lot of this is about feelings and emotions. You can feel it when the guitar does something and the bass does something, or and they change to a different key, or they do a little rise, or they, they change key, or they change rhythmical elements, or and they're dynamics. You look at all the different dynamics in this song, here to here to here to here to here to here. There's all kinds of dynamic things that happen all over the place, and articulations that the guitar is doing something, it starts using a different effect to add a little bit of flavor, or it does it articulated, or the vocalists are articulating things a little bit differently, or using their voice a little differently. And on and on and on and on. And more than you deconstructing it musically, with pen and paper, just immersing yourself in it. Let it saturate you. Let it imprint on you. Because the more it does that, the better of a critical listener you will be. And as you deconstruct things, and as you critically listen, and as you listen to every moment in time, all this great stuff is saturated and printed on your mind, that you don't have to sit there and pull out reference tracks quite so much to compare, because you are a connoisseur. You can hear the difference. You know that the bass is too heavy, or it sounds bad, or it's muddy, or it's it's not distinct enough, or you're on and on and on and on and on and on and on, because you are saturated and imprinted with great productions that you've put playlists together and just immersed yourself in them. And you have to think about it just as much as you practicing with your equalizer, or just as much as you would practice embellishing and working with your music theory, and on and on and on, and any of those kind of things. It's huge. It will have an impact on you. It will improve you as an engineer and as a production engineer, 100% guaranteed. But you have to take the time to do it. So I certainly hope you enjoyed this second video in our third master series on becoming a production engineer. And I certainly hope you take the time to saturate and imprint yourself with some great productions and immerse yourself in them, so that you become a more musical connoisseur of what is happening in productions and in the engineering, so that you become that next level producer and engineer, and really help you get those wonderful productions together, and those power productions. Peace, hope, love. I certainly hope you enjoyed the second video, and I will see you in the next video.